Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast. It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a breath. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime! Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post and Erin Evernham here. Hello, Erin. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. Everything is great here. We got a race tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, we got
like that.
$50,000 on the line tonight with a high limit series up at Lernerville, which is one of my favorite places on the planet. Okay, so that's going to be good. It's all great. Everything is good, you know. Just wrapped up. I just was up in Martinsville this past weekend for that late model stock.
Oh yeah, I saw the brawl after the race too.
The brawl. Well, the brawl was in the heat race.
Oh, it was a heat race.
They were just trying to get to the race. Those were the brawlers were just trying to get to the race.
That's the only clip. I saw a
yeah.
few clips, but I did see that one.
I'm gonna say this, and I literally was just before the show here on Twitter or X.
Is that how you type like
That's
that?
how I type like that. Exactly.
You're
I'm
a
the old
hunter and pecker?
I'm the old hunter and pecker.
Really?
Exactly.
You didn't know other?
No, I know. Larry LaRue, 9th grade, Blue Ridge High School, taught me how to type. Okay, so there we go.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Glad
exactly.
we got that out of the way.
Way back when they were manual typewriters now. Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I think we did have the return thing. I don't think we had to do the old,
you didn't have to actually.
I didn't think we have to do that. So I'm surprised
Not that
you
old.
even know about that.
Yeah.
I will say this, late model stock racing here, asphalt late model stock racing in the Carolinas. It's king in the Carolinas. And I saw, it was a 200-lap race, caution at 175, planned caution at lap 75. I saw maybe the 25 best laps of racing I've seen in a long, long time. Not maybe, the best 25 laps of racing I've seen in a long, long time. 4 drivers, all going for it aggressively, and not one time did any of them cross into the icky territory, including a win where they came beating on each other down to the line and very easily could have gotten icky by either guy into turn 3 and 4, and neither of them did. They both raced. And I left there. You know, when we see it in sprint car racing, there's times you see this epic battle where it's like, man, oh man, the only people feeling icky are the guys 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and that's because the racers. We left here good. We've seen it in sprint car racing. I literally walked out of Martinsville saying, man, I saw something special. So it was good. It was good. And a kid, Trevor Ward, a local small-time racer against 3 well-funded teams, is the guy that won the race.
Oh,
so
nice.
It was really
That's
really a good thing. Him and his brother built the car.
Nice.
And so it was fun. So racing is fun. I mean, you know, if you followed this show for 3 minutes, I am an advocate of getting out to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yes, we love sprint car racing in this show, in this building. We love sprint car racing, but go to a race.
Yeah,
folks.
we were
Go
at
to
the
a
drag
race.
races this weekend.
You went to the drag races. How was that?
It was great. Yeah, it had been a few years since we had gone to watch NHRA.
Yep.
It was neat. We brought Kate. Last time we brought her, she was like a baby, so she was like, she loved it. But she was like, wait a second, why don't they turn? I love to watch her perspective of racing. Now, she's a horse girl. She likes her own horsepower, her ponies.
Right.
So her favorite so far of the local Charlotte Motor Speedway events, it has been the monster trucks. They're winning by a lot.
Right.
Drag racing, she liked the noise, the speed, but didn't understand why they didn't turn.
Right.
Motorcycles were fun for a bit, but I don't really understand. It seems long and boring. You know, her perspective, it just really cracks me up. So monster trucks are winning right now in her world.
Drag racing, I went over there Friday night. Got a chance Friday night to hang out over there. Got a chance to wave to our buddy Cruiser. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. Saw Ron Capps, our buddy there. I would have liked to have. The game plan was Martinsville was supposed to be Saturday night, so I was going to spend all day Sunday at the drag races. Well, Martinsville got postponed to Sunday. Saturday was kind of a rough day weather-wise, and my daughter wanted to go grab Mexican for lunch. And when you're an empty nester and your daughter says, let's go grab Mexican for lunch,
That's
we're
what
going
you
to
do.
grab Mexican. But I did get out there Friday night, and it was fun. Drag racing is fun.
Yeah, it's neat.
Really
it's
cool.
neat to see old friends. And
yeah, it is. It's just amazing. It really is. Funny to me because it's like how the world's all you see familiar faces
Yep.
and familiar people at all of them.
Yeah, we bumped into Slugger Labby. We talked to
Yeah.
Tony and Leah for a little bit. It's neat.
Yeah, I see my buddy Slugger out there. I
Yeah.
saw him. He was elbows up on the phone, so I got to wave to him 3 different times while he was on the phone. That's my buddy. If I need Slugger, I can text him. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff in the sprint car world. Hey, I've been really lax about this, and I think I might have done it a week or so ago. If you like what we're doing on Wing Nation, like it, share it, put something on your social media about love this show at Wing Nation. Everything's great, but it's just the way of the world nowadays is that you got to like and share and subscribe to all this stuff to as people start to do the algorithms. I got the word out this time.
Yeah.
As people
Good
start to
job.
do it. So if you like what we're doing here on Wing
Google
Nation,
and Google.
and Google, exactly. So fun stuff, that's for sure. Let's get into our Hefter Racing product hot topics. All-Star Circuit of Champions, Saturday night at Eldora. This was the final points race.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Tusky 50 coming up is an
Yeah.
all-star race, but it's not points. And the all-star thing pays on owner points. So Zebwise and Rudine had a 4-point advantage over Sunshine and Clausen Marshall and old Zeb.
Yeah.
Game, set, match. He'd won the Drivers' Championship, okay? He won the race, which won the Owners' Championship for Kevin Rudine. I guess I didn't realize this, but I did. Career first Eldora win.
Yeah.
Now, you're a kid growing up in Angola, Indiana, in open wheel racing, that career first Eldora win. I'm like, we had hoped to talk to Zeb, and my buddy Kreger, our producer of the show, has had one of those days where every time we zig, someone else zags. We had hoped to talk to Zeb, and I'm just like,
Zeb zigged and zagged.
Zeb zigged and zagged, exactly. But I can't imagine your first career Eldora win and then having it be for so much.
Yeah.
For everybody.
And that was the real Eldora. I mean, there's some races you see there, but this weekend, the Four Crown, it was up against the fence. I mean, exactly. When you watched him run that race and not make a mistake, he 100% earned that. And I thought it was neat in Victory Lane. He talked about how he has wanted to get better there, and he's watched all this video and he's really studied. It's neat to see that he put in the time and the effort, and it worked.
Paid off for him.
Yeah.
So Zeb Wise is your all-star driver champ, and Kevin Rudine Racing is your all-star championship winning team, and they cashed the big checks on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it in Ohio for a while because, again, I said we'll talk to this guy next week, actually. Attica Fremont, and a week or so ago, we had Byron Reed on.
Yep.
And then as you start researching this, and it's like Byron had a great season, got that last win at Attica,
Yep.
had so many second and third place finishes. The reason he had so many second and third place finishes is because that darn Cap Henry was winning it all up there. And Cap Henry.
What a season.
What a season. And this is his first season with Jeff Ward Motorsports. So he was with the Lane team.
Yep.
And they went off the rails at the end of last year. And so he puts this deal together. Same crew chief, Zach Myers. 11 wins. Attica Track Championship, Fremont Track Championship. He won the race Saturday night at Attica, which leads to that. And he won a Fast Series race at Wayne County, and he won the Attica Fremont Championship Series. Yeah. Again, let's dial up Cap and talk to him this week. He can't, but Cap's already locked in for us next week. We're going to talk to him. But what a season. And when one door closes last year, him and Zach, his crew chief, found another door that opened. And boy, what a season
they put it together. Yeah, and it seems like he quietly gained those wins. Like, we kept track of them, but all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, championship.
Yeah.
When you win 3 championships, that's pretty impressive in 1 year.
So kudos, and we'll talk next week to Cap Henry. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Friday night they were at Eldora, and not a big shocker when Rico Abreu wins at Eldora. Rico had a rolling, and 11th overall win this season, but 6th World of Outlaw wins. Again, the year of Rico continues, and there is a lot coming up in the next 2 weeks that could put an exclamation point on the year of Rico.
Yeah.
So really, really good. The Outlaws, they rolled out of Eldora, and then they rolled over to Sharon Speedway on Saturday night, and you talk about quietly.
Yeah.
This is what Brad Sweet is doing this year. He is quietly just snuck away on this, but he got his 11th win of the season Saturday night at Sharon, 10th All-Star, or 9th World of Outlaw win. 11th overall win. So Brad Sweet, the big cat, is rolling along to a 5th consecutive championship.
Yeah.
We're not crowning him yet. We've got to roll through Pennsylvania with 2 weekends.
Yep.
Used to be, if you're Brad Sweet, you would really worry about Pennsylvania weekends.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Not so much anymore. He won at Williams Grove earlier this year. The big cat is really picking him up and laying him down. And it's fun to watch excellence. It really is. And we're seeing that out of Brad and this team. Okay. Other winners this weekend. We're going to talk to this guy, Lance DeWease. First win in the Macri car at Williams Grove. Boy, talk about timing, Erin.
Yeah.
Talk about timing. If only there were some big races at Williams Grove and Port Royal coming up.
Yeah.
Where Lance and the Macri team could shine.
Yeah, where Lance might do okay at some of these
his
favorite tracks.
Yes, exactly. Picked up the first one in the Macri car. We're going to talk to Lance in just a few moments. And a couple of weeks ago when we had Byron Reed on, I said, that's going to be the feel-good story of the year. Well, Danny Smith says, hold my beer. And to me, this is a two-parter, okay? We love Danny Smith, okay? 50th season that he scored a win in a sprint car. He won at Skyline on Friday night. That's stupid. I mean, 50
And
years.
this year he made us, I mean, he kind of came down to the wire.
One year he went into November before he did it. But this year he's way early on it. No.
With that new paint scheme.
Well, it's that new paint scheme that Danny has. Yeah. Exactly. You know, it's one of the highlights of the offseason is when Danny unveils the new paint scheme. So, here's the thing. Danny picked up the win at Skyline, took the lead coming to the white flag, started 6th, took the lead coming to the white flag. Great win for Danny. Here's the thing I think that just really puts an exclamation point on this. Went to Sharon Speedway against the World of Outlaws, qualified 29th fastest, raced a few spots forward in his heat race, a few spots forward in the B main, locked in and finished 19th in the World of Outlaw B main. So Danny Smith continues to just be a great story. And boy, that's what I love about sprint car racing is that the guys like Danny Smith are still out there working
all ends of the spectrum,
all across the spectrum, and occasionally parking it on the front stretch. So there we go.
For 50 seasons in a row.
50 seasons in a row. You can imagine that. 50 seasons in a row. No, I don't think.
I'm 42. I can't.
No,
really.
You're 42 years old. No, seriously, I don't think it's imaginable.
Yeah.
Because I think it's unfathomable because you can't figure it out. He's 65 years old.
That's awesome.
And he's still gassing it up. I think he's ran like 60 races this year. I mean, between the 410s and the 360s. And just out there bebopping up and down the country. Love it. Absolutely love it. And really good stuff. Hefner Racing Products. Okay. HRP wings are the original recessed rivet wing manufacturer. They use wind tunnel and track performance testing to outpace the industry in design, in innovation, and in functionality.
Yep, not only for sprint cars, but lightning sprints, micros, and junior sprints. And they can be shipped across the world and can be economically ground shipped to your door.
HRPRacing.com. That's www.hrpracing.com. We need to step away. We're going to come back. We're going to the Sage Fruit Outline. Lance Dewease, fresh off from that win Friday night at Williams Grove. He joins us next.
Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum's newest exhibit will be our track tribute to Williams Grove Speedway inside the museum's main floor from April 3rd through October 2nd this year. You'll learn about the beginning of Williams Grove Speedway and the evolution of sprint car racing on the East Coast through 8 of the iconic big cars and sprint cars that made up the history of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania's Williams Grove Speedway. Plus, you'll see videos of historic National Open sprint car races and other racing events that put Williams Grove on the map. That's the track tribute to Williams Grove Speedway, featured April 3rd through October 2nd at the only museum in the world solely dedicated to sprint car racing, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa.
We appreciate Bob Baker and everyone at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. The track tribute is to Williams Grove Speedway, so it seems rather appropriate. Let's go to the Sage Fruit Hotline, fresh off from another win at Williams Grove. Lance Dewease joins us. Hello, Lance. How are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing well. Lance, another Williams Grove win, but this one remarkably different than any of them before in that the new team with Macri Motorsports, with Nick Macri and his deal. What was it like being in Victory Lane with your new guys over there?
It was great. It meant a lot to everybody involved for multiple different reasons. You know what I mean? And yeah, we've had our struggles a little bit in the car. You know, I just count Eldora because that was a whole different deal and everything. But we've actually been pretty decent in it back home here. We have a couple seconds, and you know, we're gaining little by little, and we're trying to do it in the incremental steps so we don't get so far off base that we're really bad, because the car is really fast at the beginning of the night. We just have to kind of get it fine-tuned for later.
Lance, I know you've been around the sport for a long time and transitioned through different teams, but what was it like this year transitioning kind of mid-season into another Pennsylvania ride? But what is that like to do it mid-season?
That's kind of the first time I ever had to do it, you know, that early in the year. So it was a little different. It was, you know, for me, it was very unexpected. But with that said, you know, I'm very thankful to Nick and Melinda to let me drive their car for the rest of this year, and, you know, until I find something for next year, hopefully. And you know, it's a little, you know, different because, you know, when I hopped into 69K, the driving styles between me and Dawn Order is very similar. You know what I mean? You couldn't get farther apart on the spectrum than me and Anthony. And that's nothing against Anthony. Anthony's a great race car driver. But our driving styles are so far different that, you know, it's a learning curve for everybody involved. And, you know, Joe and I are, you know, we're trying to get it there, and we're slowly getting it. And, you know, Friday, I felt like we're in the right area that we need to be. And, you know, caught a break go our way, but, you know, we were in position to take advantage of it. And the motor program is way different than what I'm used to, so that takes getting used to. The cars are different type of car. You know, just it's a lot bigger change than what some people might realize.
Lance, you're a guy that is really detail oriented. I always share this. One of the moments, you and Greg Hodnett talking shocks and springs and tires with me in the trailer, not knowing what you're talking about, and Erin wishing she's part of this conversation because she's an engineer and savvy like it.
What did you say?
What did
I don't know.
I have no idea what Lance said. I have no idea what Greg said. And I set all that up because you were very, very, you just go through methodical processes, and you've worked with the best crew chiefs in the sport, okay? Getting a chance to work with Joe Mooney, who you just talked about, with all of his experience with Brad Sweet Racing, and then coming over and bringing that to the Macri team. What has that been like with a fresh set of ears and a fresh set of eyes to watch and learn off from each other from?
Oh, it's been great. Joe's a great guy, very organized. I felt really bad for him at Eldora when that whole deal kind of went down, and you know, it was just a bad deal for.
Yeah.
To me, he's the guy that suffered the most out of that whole deal at that time and period. But we're working together, trying to get it figured out. You know, we're doing some things different than maybe he thought, you know, the normal way he would go about it. But like I said, we're doing it in small increments of, you know, just trying to fine tune it and going a little bit different directions for me over what he maybe would have done for Anthony or Justin Sanders, even in the car. We're really starting to gain on it. At Port Royal, I feel like we have a car capable of winning. At the Grove this past Friday, I felt like we have a car that's capable of winning. You know, we caught the break with Brent breaking the rear end there, but we were second. We were all over him for a couple laps after the restart. I felt like, you know, if you'd have flopped us, that's how we'd have ran anyhow. So, and Brent's a really fast race car, so, you know, we could maintain with him. I was pretty pleased with that.
Lance, now that I'm the more technical one of the group here, when you talked about setting up the car more for your driving style versus Anthony's, we know Anthony could run up against the fence at Williams Grove and especially at Port. When you talk about the changes that you need for the car, I mean, I don't want specifics, but what are some of the big things? Do you drive a much tighter car that you want to be able to run the bottom? Like, what are some of the vague differences?
Well, you just said it, Aaron. I drive a probably a lot tighter race car than most people, but it still turns.
Yep.
I like to feel the right rear more than most people, probably. I don't use brakes. That's the biggest difference.
Wow.
Over a lot of people. I do not use brakes. I do not drive with the brakes. Now, that don't mean I don't use them, but you know what I mean? Like Anthony, like that was one of the problems at Eldora. I had no brakes. I had a pedal. I had zero stopping power because what they had to do for Anthony, they run the hardest pads and everything just to keep brakes on the car for him because he drags the brakes a ton. I don't drag the brakes at all. I do not use my left foot any other than if I need to slow down going in the corner. You know what I mean? I can, and people and me and Tyler Courtney and Zeb Wise was having this conversation in Port Royal last time they were in. I don't touch the brake pedal at a lot of racetracks, especially Port Royal and the Grove, when I'm up front. I mean, I never drove that way. And, one thing we talked about was back when I started, we didn't have brakes. I mean, we had brakes, but they were just there. We ran aluminum rotors on the left front, aluminum rotors on the inboard. Yeah, you had a pedal, but they never stopped you. I mean, so it's just how I grew up to race, and I never raced cars that you drive that you use a lot of brakes. When I started, so it just, I can't. I mean, just swap stuff around. Now, with that said, I think that's also my advantage in some situations too. So I don't need the brakes to hook the race car up. I don't get the car loaded and unloaded by using the brake pedals. I mean, I kind of just keep it loaded with the pedal, the right pedal.
So how in the world do you come off of 4 like you do at Williams Grove and keep that thing so close to the inside wall without any brakes? Because that just blows my mind.
That's just, I'll run in there and I'll back the corner up normally if I'm trying to stay low.
Yeah.
And I might be quarter throttle the whole way through the corner and never move the pedal even on the exit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just start, squeezing the pedal lightly as we come off the corner or go down the straightaway as long as the tires can, handle it. That's just how I've always raced. And it's, I'll tell you a quick story about that because you'll understand this, Aaron, from racing, the stuff you've raced. So we were in Vegas one year for Christmas with the family, and we went and exotic cars on a course, and they let you run as fast as you physically can run. And the guy that was with me, the so-called instructor, raced dirt late models. So we had a good conversation while we were waiting to go out and all that. And I got running. His first words out of his mouth is, "You don't drive with brakes, do you?" I said, "No." He goes, "You need to get on them a lot harder." And basically, he had me run deeper in the corner and just yell at me to get on the brakes, get on them hard. Because those cars won't lock them up. Yeah. They're very hard to lock up. He said, "Just get them hard." And when I did that, I knocked a couple seconds off my lap times and started turning some pretty respectable lap times. But I was so used to not using them that it was a whole different beast that I had to learn to do. Right. And then when I drove that late model last year, same way. I had to get used to using the brakes harder, getting in the corner, and to use them to make the car turn and stuff like that. So it's a that's just how I learned to race. And at my age, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks sometimes.
No doubt. Fantastic stuff.
I run the softest pad that Willwood makes on their titanium rotors.
Wow.
Just so I have brakes.
Wow.
See, oh my gosh, that's fascinating. That really, truly is. Okay. Yeah. You talk about you felt like you've got a car that can win Port Royal, and Friday you felt like a car you have a win in Williams Grove. I think your timing is pretty good, Lance, with what's going on this weekend and next weekend. you've got to feel like you got a fighter's chance when the Outlaws roll in there the next couple of weekends.
Oh, I think we have a fighter's chance. The car has a lot of speed in the beginning of the night. The Charlie Garrett engines run unbelievable. And it has a lot of speed. We've qualified very well with it. So, we have a fighting chance. But, as you guys know, it's all about putting yourself in position, timing good, getting yourself in the dash and, trying to go forward in the dash if you start back. And, that's what it's all about. I expect Williams Grove on Friday to be wet just because the rain. I mean, it's missed the rain here all day today still. So, I just expect this time of year it's probably going to be a little wetter. It's going to be probably like it was 2 weeks ago for us. So, but, it's all about putting yourself in position. And I feel we're capable of doing that. But you still, sometimes the luck of the draw hurts you. Sometimes it helps you. It's all part of the game. But I honestly feel we have a legitimate shot at every race we're coming into next 2-3 weeks.
Lance, I just want to go back quickly to Friday night again. On a more personal note, how gratifying was it to get back in victory lane and in a different car and get the Macris another win? What was that like for you? Your 114th win at Williams Grove.
Well, like I said earlier, it's special for everybody involved for multiple different reasons. It was nice to get Nick and Melinda into victory lane since I've been in the car, or since anybody's been in the car. Besides Anthony. It was nice to get me in victory lane since I was let go from the 69K. There's so many side stories to that. Being in victory lane was just great. And, I really enjoyed it for Joe, getting Joe a win because he works very hard at it. I enjoyed it for me and my family to, get a win and, just it kind of relieved some pressure off everybody, and it just meant a lot, I think.
Perfection isn't easily achieved.
So what did I hear? Then you left victory lane at Williams Grove and you went to the micro track and caught Cole winning a race, correct?
Yeah, he had a gym. Now it's funny because we missed races. He don't run weekly every place because we travel some with him and go different places.
Yeah.
But Linda's lost so many races with rain and all. He actually was 10 points behind the guy for the championship. Going into Friday was the last race for the wingless. So he had a legitimate shot. Now it's only a point per spot, and the guy that ended up winning is very good there. So I was very proud of him because he's worked really hard at it. He worked really hard that day he found some extra power on the dyno for his motor, so we changed stuff before they left. He won his heat, and he ended up winning the feature. He did everything he physically could do to try to win the championship, but he didn't win it, and the guy that won it deserves it, too. I got there. I wasn't originally going to leave because I didn't think I could make it, and once I got back to the trail and got changed on, I'm like, what the heck, I'll head up. I talked to them. They didn't think I could make it in time, but I told them, well, I'll head up, head that way, and be there when you guys are leaving or whatever. You know what I mean? So I walked in with 9 laps to go when he was leading.
Man.
So, it was neat to win on the same night. It was really neat to me for him to get his first win at Linda's because he's been really, really fast there when he's been there, and just little things happen. So he's having a good year. He's got more wins than me, so I got a little pressure on me to finish off the year here pretty good. But we head to Indiana today. Sometime we'll leave where they have the biggest paying micro race of the year there this coming weekend. So I'll go out for that, and I'll come back for the Grove National then, and they'll stay out and finish the weekend off.
Man, that is fun stuff. Final question for you. I see last week you went to Maple Grove. You and Cole went and hung out with our buddy Cruz Pendragon in the drag racers. What'd you make of the drag racing world?
I've been fortunate enough to been there. I was there in 2019. J.R. Todd had me out and enjoyed it then and all. Well, Cruz invited me, and we went there and hung out with him, and then got to go on the starting line. The look on my son's face was priceless. it was so meaningful to be able to be in that position, to have him be able to do that, sit there on the starting line and watch the funny cars leave. And I mean, I was blown away. I've never felt nothing like that in my life. And then we watched one round. Well, then Tony's car was the next round. He come up to us, and we actually was out on the track with him when his cars ran. So it was an honor to, for Cruz to let us do that. I really appreciate it a lot. And, for Tony to, take the time and let us do that with him. And, my son and I, we just really enjoyed it. And actually my wife enjoyed it. And I got home the other day on Sunday, and she was physically watching drag racing.
Wow.
She's never watched drag race a day in her life, but she was watching the funny cars race. And Cruz lost, and then she turned it off. So, I haven't got a chance to text Cruz that yet, but I will. But, yeah, it was just funny. I come home, she's watching drag race. I said, you actually watch it? He goes, yeah. And then he ended up losing his round, and then she said, okay, I'm done watching it. So,
That's awesome.
There's some benefits being, as my son said to me when we were on the starting line there, when they made the first pass, he thanked me for winning a lot. There is some benefits at times to being successful, and it was a blast. I really have to thank Cruz and his girlfriend who got us on the starting line, and it was just great.
They're wonderful people. Cruz has been family to us. I mean, it's like the Wing Nation. It's ridiculous how he has embraced us as well. He loves the sprint car world and his midgets and everything like that. Lance, we wish you the best over the next couple of weekends, and who knows, maybe we'll have to dial you up here in another week or two and talk about another big win. But congratulations on that win Friday night, and best of fortune the next couple of weeks.
Well, thank you, and we're looking forward to the next 2 weeks. And hopefully Mother Nature stays away and lets us all go racing and, have some fun and see what we can do.
No doubt about it. There he goes, Lance DeWease from the Sage Fruit Hotline. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
We end every Lance Dewease interview, and we go to the commercial break. And of course, I'm the dummy here. Erin's the racer and the engineer. And I sit back and I'm like, that just boggled my mind. I think what he told us. Again, I'm a dumb radio guy, okay? And I get my confirmation from Erin, who's like,
it just blows my mind every time because he gives us such great insight. And for as long as I've known Lance, I didn't know that he didn't drive with a lot of brake. I actually used to not drive with a lot of brake until Steve Kinzer told me one night, he's like, Erin, you got to use a little more brake. You're blowing through the cushion. You got to. But it's fascinating. And yes, the old racer engineer in me loves to analyze that. When I asked that question about coming off of turn 4, I mean, he nails it. That's one of his strongest places at Williams Grove. And I'm like, how do you manage to keep the car down there without using a lot of brake? It's so many drivers we talk to, everyone talks about pedaling the car and holding it down with the brake. That's just amazing stuff.
And then he talked about the way the car upset with braking.
It changes the whole way a car
sets up, which is fascinating.
And
And then he talked about, in the middle of turn number 4, he's at quarter throttle at Williams Grove.
Yeah, and then to hear him get in a car that has been driven by Anthony Macri, who's a gasser and
uses
at
quarter throttle twice.
Yes,
on the way up
and uses a lot of brake
on the way down. Yeah.
So no wonder it's taken them a while to adjust. Like that, you're going two completely different driving styles, far ends of the spectrum.
Gosh, and then the coal facet of this is just really cool. They've come down to Millbridge a few times, and we've hung out in the trailer a little bit, and I'll tell you what. Lance Dewease, boy, I'm telling you, that is just one of the great motorsports success stories in our country. Really, truly is. And he continues. And folks, don't be surprised if there's not a couple of big checks cashed over the next couple of weeks, because he is one that the posse's going to have to, or the Outlaws are going to have to. And remember, that Port Royal Tuscarora 50 is 50 laps.
And that is one of his specialties.
That feels
managing
right into his wheelhouse.
And oftentimes we talk to Lance and he'll say we need to find more speed. What the things that he didn't say that today.
Not at all.
He said we've got the speed. I was like, oh, this is a different Lance.
And speed early night means qualifying well, putting yourself in a dash to be starting in the first couple of rows. So you can manage it then.
Yeah.
You start in the first couple of rows at the Tuscarora 50. This is, again, dumb radio guy. But if you start in the first couple of rows at the Tuscarora 50, the first 25, you can manage it then. You're not racing your way from 10th to get to 3rd or wherever you want to be.
Yep.
And he's also saying less brakes. More speed, less brakes.
Yeah.
That's the thing, too.
And that
That's
helps
amazing.
you manage your tires.
He's unreal is what he is. And it's just cool. And it's cool when, he's at the drag race and Cruz gets him there. J.R. Todd got him there in the past. And then Tony sees him. No, come on, stay here.
Yeah.
That's just cool.
And then his son saying, there's some benefits.
Dad,
that's
neat. Dad, you know what?
You
this
did
whole
all right,
racing
Dad.
thing, you did all right, Dad. You did all right. Sounds like Cole's doing all right, too.
Yeah.
Love it. Great stuff, that's for sure. All right, where are we at here in the show? National Sprint Car Hall of Fame birthday. You know what? It's kind of a blessing we only had one guest because we went long with Lance because it's just like you just go one to the next to the next.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow. I mean, National Sprint Car Hall of Fame birthday count. This one here, this is one I've never even knew existed. Okay. Bob Hampshire yesterday, Bill Pickens, Ernie Triplett. Later this week, W.W. Bowman, Maynard Clark, Don Brown. Today, Bruce Baum Jr., Steve Butler, Lanny Edwards, Ralph Morgan. And today would have been the birthday of Vern Fritsch, a 1997 inductee. He was born in New Lothrop, Michigan in 1909. Owned and raced cars. He also did a driving school, and I love this one. Craig, you're going to love this one too. He was a radio broadcaster on KABC in Detroit. So he's a radio guy. Love that, okay?
I bet he's not a dumb radio guy.
But he's not a dumb radio guy also. I agree with that. There's only one dumb radio guy. No, there's a lot of dumb radio guys. No, there's a lot of dumb radio guys. October 9th, 1945, racing at Owasso Speedway, bad crash, left him disabled in a wheelchair. He apparently was always upbeat about life, one of those life full of things. He founded the Disabled Drivers Pool and spent a lot of time raising money for injured drivers. His favorite saying was, racers taking care of its own. He was in a wheelchair, but he found a way to race with hand-controlled cars. And he took one of these hand-controlled, I think it's RC racing, probably a 4Runner RC, I'm guessing, 100-plus miles an hour, set a world speed record in his wheelchair, running these hand-controlled cars down at Daytona.
Wow.
Became an award-winning writer, inspired many others in his writing and in his charitable donations, and he died on August 7th, 1978. Ashes are spread at East Bay Raceway, and his life is forever enshrined in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Now, I haven't had a chance to do this, but I'm going to go back and find a little bit of information about this radio broadcaster, KABC. That fascinates me. I'm as much as I love racing, I'm especially as I get older, really getting into old school radio and a radio geek. And like there's a Facebook group of old radio station pictures and stuff like that. This fascinates me that he was a radio broadcaster. So fun stuff. Those are the stories that you will have and find at one sprint car place in Knoxville, Iowa. All right.
Woo-wee.
This weekend, Erin, 61st annual Champion Racing Oil National Open. Friday night, $10,000. Saturday night, $75,000. When we look at the Outlaws, Erin, this year at Williams Grove, it has been no posse drivers have won yet.
No, they certainly haven't. But the last 5 National Open winners include some.
Yes, absolutely. This year it's been Brad Sweet, Logan Stewart, and Rico Abbott winning the Outlaw races there. Lance DeWease is the defending winner. Remember last year in this one, he swept the whole darned weekend.
Yeah.
Carson Macedo won it in 2021. Donnie Schatz won it in 20. Brent Marks won it in 2019. Lance won it in 2018. Donnie is a 6-time winner of the National Open. Lance is a 5-time winner. David Gravel, 2. Macedo, Marks, and Dietrich are of the entered drivers or the expected drivers are one-race winners. This is going to be fascinating to see how this
it is
goes.
going to be.
I just cannot wait to see what happens up there.
This is one of my favorite races of the year. I mean, there's plenty of races that I love, but for some reason, the National Open, the Fall, Williams Grove, it's just always been one of my favorites. Granted, I don't think I ever made it out of the C main, but that's besides the point.
This track is a separator.
Yeah.
Of everybody.
Yeah.
Just the nature of this track. Look how long it took Brad Sweet to succeed.
Yeah,
now
it is a very different type of track to drive. It's
just
unique.
That picking the right front wheel down the front straightaway. Now everyone is going to go in there trying not to use brakes this week, and Lance is going to pedal right past them. He did that on our show just to let everyone know.
Yeah, that's what happened. He's mind games.
Mind games. Gosh, it's just. I'm telling you, this is just fun. They're already. It's Tuesday. They're already setting up shop. Campers are already going in.
Already tailgating.
The Beer Hill gang and their friends. There's a chili cook-off on Saturday morning. We have got to get the NASCAR schedule makers a little bit better on this one.
Let's call in sick to Talladega.
I know.
And just head up to.
Tell me about it, Craig. I'm
Grove.
telling you what. Let's
go.
We have got to get the schedule makers to get along. The only problem is that if I want the schedule makers to cooperate this week, I want them to cooperate next week for the Tuscarora 50 Nittany Showdown. We've got all kinds of problems here. All kinds of problems. It's going to be fun. Dirt Vision has the call all weekend long, and it's going to be good. Prior to that, though, tonight, Lernerville Speedway, I think there's an entry list of 50 drivers. This baby is loaded up with talent. The Outlaw drivers, we've spent time this year. We haven't spent much time, but I know everyone else is twisted up about where they're all going. David Gravel and Brad Sweet appear to be the Outlaw representatives running there, which I think also leads everyone to believe that there will be a fair number of Outlaw drivers at the Tuscarora 50 next week, because this got into their final one where they would choose to do it. But Lernerville, I just love it. I just love that place, and it's going to be awesome. Tonight, Flow Racing has the call for the high limits race, the Commonwealth Clash at Lernerville Speedway. So it's going to be great as well. So, and then out west, the NARC King of the West Series, the Maury Williams Memorial Twin 20s at King Speedway in Hanford. And that is just ultimately a Peter Murphy Twin 20s, West Coast, sprint car style of way I'm doing things. A lot of people have 30-lap features. They just at times say, well, let's do twin 20s, let's do triple 15s. Let's do this. Let's do that. I love it. Good sprint car weekend coming up. So it's going to be fun, that's for sure.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, busy weekend. Going to be fun. Hopefully, as Lance said, Mother Nature will cooperate and all of the racing action can get accomplished in and on time. So can't wait. Can't wait to see what happens. That is for sure. So again, man, talking to Lance Dewease, what a thrill.
Always
is. Fascinating stuff. So next week, Cap Henry's going to join us, and we'll see who else we can get dialed up and see who else turns Kreger down this week.
Zigs and zags on.
Yes, Kreger was zigging and zagging with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. So what'll happen is all of the people we missed will text him between 1 and 2 and say, sure, what time?
Yeah.
Sure, what
ready.
time you want us to call in, Kreger? No, it's all good.
Would not be the first time.
Would not be the first time, no. And everyone's good with us. Just lots going on in the world, that's for sure. And people are moving and shaking and doing things. So it is fun for sure. So we do appreciate Lance DeWees joining us here on the program. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us this time on Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit.